Etsy is a premier destination for us to sell print-on-demand products to a global audience, but they're also a publicly traded company. As such, they have to make disclosures every quarter for their shareholders with some pretty important information that us sellers might find valuable. So that's what I want to share in this video. I used ChatGPT to scan the Q3 2025 Etsy earnings call data, and that's what we're going to go through a summary for in this video. So Etsy just released its Q3 2025 earnings, and there's a lot here that matters for anyone selling print-on-demand products, especially if you're trying to understand whether the platform is growing or shrinking. Here's what the data shows. So the overall performance, revenue was 678 million, up 6.1% year over year. Gross merchandise sales were down about 6.5% overall. Core Etsy marketplace gross merchandise sales were 2.43 billion, which is down about 2.4% year over year. In simple terms, Etsy's making slightly more money per transaction from ads and fees, but total sales volume on the platform is slipping a bit. So Etsy is making more off of its sellers, and sellers are seeing a decrease in traffic to Etsy. So that's not great for sellers, if we're being honest. Active sellers and buyers. So there was 5.5 million active sellers. That's a 10.9% decrease compared to last year. That is a good thing for sellers, I would say. Less competition. And active buyers were 86.6 million, down about 5% year over year. That is not something you want to see become a trend for Etsy, because what makes any marketplace a good opportunity for us sellers is the traffic, the ability to put our products in front of qualified buyers and give them what they're looking to buy. So why the drop? Etsy said part of it comes from the seller setup fee introduced in 2024, which filtered out a lot of casual or inactive sellers. So while there's fewer sellers, the remaining ones tend to be more serious about business. So what this means for print-on-demand sellers. This data might sound negative at first, but there's actually opportunity here if you're running a print-on-demand store on Etsy. Less competition from casual sellers. The drop in active sellers could make it easier for high-quality shops to stand out. Higher buyer expectations. With fewer buyers overall, Etsy's doubling down on personalization, ads, and app-based discovery. That means listing quality and conversion optimization matter more than ever. So that means a quality listing that's converting at a higher percent than your competition is more than likely going to be required to capture a larger market share of the declining market share that Etsy's experiencing relative to its competition for you and your Etsy shop's presence. Traffic costs may rise. Since Etsy's revenue is growing, while gross merchandise sales is shrinking, they're earning more through ads and seller fees. Expect ad costs to keep climbing. This is ChatGPT forecasting this. Off-platform traffic becomes valuable. Don't rely solely on Etsy's search algorithm. Drive your own traffic from Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, or email lists. That's where you can win. And we know Amazon definitely loves when you send third-party, off-site traffic to those listings and convert. So I'm sure Etsy is the same way. By the way, let me know in the comments. I was thinking about bringing a Pinterest expert to the channel to interview them to talk about how we might be able to drive additional traffic to our Etsy shops. If that's something you would like me to do, let me know in the comments. Retention is key. Every buyer counts more. Focus on repeat sales, upsells, and email follow-ups. Okay, ChatGPT might not know that I guess we kind of have access to Etsy emails, but at least you could follow up via the Etsy direct messaging system. And if you're not doing that, you're leaving money on the table. You can set up a coupon, send it to them as a thank you. Easy. 3 things to focus on right now. Optimize your top listings. Update your main photos, titles, and descriptions. Etsy's algorithm favors listings that convert. Convert means, number 1, if they see you in search results, did they click you or did they scroll right past you and click your competition, right? That's your click-through rate. After they click you, did they purchase from you? That's your conversion rate. After you get them to click you in search results and now you basically have a monopoly on their attention, what percentage of those people are you converting? Because Etsy's monitoring you and all your competition, and they're going to probably be more favorable to the listings that convert at the highest rate. And of course, there's other factors like positive feedback and whatnot. Use social media funnels. A short TikTok or Pinterest pin linking your Etsy product can outperform promoted listings if done right. And build repeat customers. Offer thank you discounts, which I love that idea. That's what I was referring to earlier. Inserts, or email follow-ups. It's cheaper to sell again to the same customer than find a new one. Remember that last sentence right there. It is cheaper to sell again to the same customer than to find a new one. Now, depending on who you're using for fulfillment, you can also pay to have inserts included with your products, and you can do a nice little branded design, a QR code, whatever it is that allows them to easily find their way back to your Etsy shop with a discount, because why not, right? Incentivize them to take action and make another purchase, become a repeat customer. All right, bottom line, Etsy's growth has slowed. The number of active sellers and buyers both declined, but that doesn't mean it's all bad news. The platform is maturing, which means less noise, more room for serious creators, and a bigger focus on quality shops that treat Etsy like a real business. For print-on-demand sellers, this is time to double down on branding, offsite traffic, and customer retention. The sellers who adapt now will be the ones who dominate when growth picks back up again. The last piece of information I wanted to share with you guys, I'm viewing as largely positive, and that's that Etsy's ex-CEO, Josh Silverman, is stepping down. I am not a fan of that guy at all for a number of reasons. The main reason is that I believe he was pushing propaganda that Etsy was, quote, keeping commerce human, while anybody that's been selling on Etsy for the last 5 years or longer knows they were basically doing the exact opposite. You know, if their faulty algorithms punished you as a seller for any reason, you had no recourse. It was nearly impossible to get a human on the other line, no matter how much money you were making the platform. I know a fraction of 1%, like top, I think 20, if not 30 Etsy shop in the world that was selling custom silver jewelry that got kicked off Etsy due to a mistake by their algorithm related to, I think it was like 2 late shipments is all it took. They couldn't get a human on the other line with as much money as they were making for Etsy. So that's Etsy keeping commerce human. To me, that was just a propaganda slogan and basically the exact opposite of what was really going on there. So Josh Silverman out the door is probably a massively positive catalyst. And I'm really actually expecting Etsy to turn around the contraction and growth that we talked about in this video. So let me know your thoughts below, guys. Thank you for watching till the end, and I'll see you soon with another new video.